Senator Canavan.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. And I too would like to make some remarks on this report by the Environment and Communications References Committee on the Great Barrier Reef. I want to associate myself with the remarks previously of Senator Ruston and Senator McDonald, particularly Senator Ruston's comments on the disappointment that we have not been able to reach a consensus report in this regard. We were so close, Mr Acting Deputy President. We were so close that it makes me think that perhaps the fact we didn't get there is more about politics than it is in fact about the facts of the matter or what we actually wanted to decide. If we are going to take action on this, we'd be much better off to do it in unison, to do it together. But of course, often these committee reports aren't just about the facts, they're about the politics, which is disappointing. The second point I want to make about Senator McDonald's remarks are those that about those people who actually live or work in the Great Barrier Reef should have a really important say on what happens in their area. And there are so many people in this debate that live outside the Great Barrier Reef, that work outside the Great Barrier Reef area, that want to talk about the Great Barrier Reef and control the Great Barrier Reef. And we actually heard it. It's a shame that Senator Singh has left the chamber because we just heard it all there. We heard it from Senator Singh when she bemoaned the fact that the Mackay Council can have a say on the Great Barrier Reef. She just said that it's a terrible thing that the Mackay Council can have a say on the Great Barrier Reef. So all the people in Mackay that might be listening tonight or that might watch this online, you've just heard it from the Labor Party. They don't care about your council. They don't care about the people and what your thoughts are in Mackay. They want to allow the minister in Canberra to dictate to you what can or can't be done in your part of the world. So say all those people in Bowen, in Airlie Beach, in Proserpine, in Tully, in Ingham, in Ayr, where my mum comes from, in Townsville, in Cairns, all of you don't deserve a say, according to the Labor Party, on your part of the world. It should be here in Canberra that determines what happens in the Great Barrier Reef. And I want to say, Mr Acting Deputy President, that I utterly reject such an approach. We should allow people who are directly impacted by what happens to have more of a say on what happens in their area, because this is not just about the environment. A lot of it is about the environment, and the environment is very important. But the environment is just one word. The environment is just one concept. Other things are important too. Jobs are important. Communities are important. Families are important. Development is important. And all of these things have to be balanced against each other. And a mature government and mature political parties realise that. Realise that there are no easy decisions here, that you must make tough choices in these kinds of things. And I think when the Labor Party were in government, they did realise that. Of course, they're in opposition now, so they don't have the responsibilities that they had just a few months ago. But last year, we know that the Labor Party had approved. The Labor Party, Senator Cameron had approved, had plans for 38 million cubic metres of dredging. 38 million cubic metres just a year ago, Senator Cameron. That was their policy. Now we have a new Shadow Minister for the Environment, and now they're talking about no dredging whatsoever. We've gone from having a year ago 38 million cubic metres between the former Queensland Labor government and the federal Labor government, 38 million cubic metres, to now wanting zero. Zero. What has happened in a year to change their mind so much? What has happened? What has happened? Oh, Campbell Newman. It's all Campbell Newman's fault, Senator Cameron. He's a very powerful man, Senator Cameron. He's very powerful, and he has changed your minds about dredging in the reef so much in just the space of a year.
Chair, Senator Cameron.
Sorry, Mr Acting Deputy President. I plead that it's only my third week, I think. But no, fourth. Sorry. But
Order.
I can't count.
Order.
Yeah, I can count
Cameron.
the millions and billions and trillions, Senator Cameron, but not up to 10. But Mr Acting Deputy President, what I can't understand in this debate is there's so much emotion about this issue of dredge spoil. It's a very loaded word, dredge spoil, and we've done lots of this in the past. We've dredged ports all through the Great Barrier Reef, and you would think, Mr Acting Deputy President, that those on the sides of science, that those who would want to use science to make judgments in this area would have evidence. Because we've done what in effect are natural trials. In 2006, for example, North Queensland Bulk Ports in 2006 dredged 8.6 million cubic metres at Hay Point, which is a port just near Mackay. near the Mackay, probably in the Mackay Council's area. 8.6 million cubic metres, Mr Acting Deputy President. You would think there'd be some studies, there'd be some peer-reviewed studies that would show these damaging effects. If dredge spoil was as bad as what we've just heard from the other side of the chamber, there would be some evidence, just a scintilla of evidence that this has caused bad things. But of course, we've had this report produced, and I just went through it all again, having a look at that, and there is no studies referred to here. There's evidence presented by people. There's concerns. There's words like could and perhaps. There's weasel words all through it, but there is no actual evidence of the effects of that 8.6 million cubic metres that was dredged just 8 years ago. Now, what we're talking about here, Mr Acting Deputy President, in Abbott Point, is 3 million cubic metres, less than half of that amount. But apparently this is going to destroy the reef. It's going to do what the 8.6 million cubic metres didn't. And I just want to refer back to Senator Singh's comments, who's now saying that the Labor Party wants to seriously consider that no more dredging will happen. I actually don't even think she mentioned offshore, but I'll take that as a clarification if she did. But we know in the future that Townsville, that Cairns, that Hay Point, that Abbott Point, all of these ports will require dredging. Gladstone, all of them will require dredging in the future because that's the natural environment and they need to be dredged from time to time. So effectively what the Labor Party is saying by saying no to any more dredging is that they're saying no to the development of these towns. They're not even saying no to the development, they're saying no to the maintenance of these towns and what they are at the moment. They're saying no to North Queensland, the Labor Party, and it's very unfortunate that they are joining with the Greens in this quest to make North Queensland the next version of North Tasmania. And I don't want to do that as a Queenslander, Mr Acting Deputy President. I don't want to see North Queensland become a northern version of Tasmania. I want to keep our state and our North Queensland very prosperous because there is a lot going on in that part of the world. And if we listen to the Greens Party, we'll have no development and no new jobs and no new towns in that area. Later on this week, I believe that there will be another committee report tabled in Northern Australia, Mr Acting Deputy President, and there's lots of potential in Northern Australia. But we know that those on the other side of the chamber are going to scream no to a lot of these things. They're going to scream no to more coal mines. They're going to scream no to more irrigation projects. They're going to scream no to more fishing zones being declared because they want to say no to jobs. They want to say no to development. And I think that is a great regret, Mr Acting Deputy President, because there is great promise in Northern Australia and North Queensland, and it would be a great regret if we turn our back on that promise as a nation and as a country. We can do better. We can do these things in a balanced way. We can do these things. We can build a coal mine and not destroy the environment. We can build ports and not destroy the environment. Because what those on the other side, they don't believe in any coal mines, Mr Acting Deputy President. None. I'm waiting. I've only been here a couple of months, but I am waiting for one Green senator to get up and say, this is the coal mine that I support to build our things like wind turbines, for example. Where's the coal going to come from to build the steel that's going to go into wind turbines? Where's the coal going to come from to help power the factories in China that produce solar panels? I will wait with bated breath to hear where that coal mine, that mystical coal mine, Mr Acting Deputy President, is going to appear. One day we live in hope. But in conclusion, Mr Acting Deputy President, I want to give credit to the Queensland and federal governments for, in a balanced way, approaching development on the Great Barrier Reef. It is a great thing that some coal mines are getting approved there because what we need in Central Queensland and North Queensland is jobs.
Senator Canavan, I'm loath to